Come fly Qatar Airways best economy class with me on a brand new Airbus A350-1000 as we test what Qatar Airways is like in 2024. Then we'll do a complete 180 and experience one of Qatar Airways' oldest economy class products on one of their 29 Airbus A320s. Over the coming weeks, you'll get to compare Qatar Airways economy to Etihad and Emirates in 2024. I've taken 2 flights on each and I'm ready to show you everything you need to know. Yalla, let's go. Habibi, come to Kuwait. That's what you guys keep telling me, so I'm here, but only for one night. The thing is, I'm supposed to fly British Airways to London, but when I wake up at 6 a.m., I find out they've cancelled my flight 6 hours prior.
Okay, can you see the reason the flight was cancelled?
Due to operational reason. Might be there are certain operational restrictions because of which they have to delay or cancel the flight for that matter, as it was not safe to travel.
Now, how do I get to Norway for my flight to Kenya in 2 days? Welcome to my life as a flight reviewer. In figuring out how to get there, I decide the best option is via Doha, so I decide to ambush my podcast co-host Alex from our #1 ranking aviation podcast On Air in Doha, so I book an extremely last-minute flight down to Qatar. Check-in is a breeze here in Kuwait, but I can't speak for all Qatar Airways destinations, obviously. Once at the gate, I see our gorgeous Airbus A350-1000 awaiting. I mean, take AvGeek Heaven and multiply that by 1,000. That's how awesome it is to have this aircraft on such a short flight. Not only that, but the flight is almost empty. Can you tell this is going to be a very representative view of Qatar Airways economy class experience? Don't worry, that'll come on my sold out following flight. This is one of just 4 of Qatar Airways' newest high-density Airbus A350-1000s. What does that mean? It means that where there would normally be 46 queue suites, this configuration has just 24. And as a result, there are a lot of economy class seats, 372 to be exact. In total, there are just under 400 seats on this aircraft. It flies primarily to Manchester, Seoul, and Bali, but these seats are the same you'll find on their other A350-1000s, which are used on all types of routes, for example, to the US. If you want to pay extra, I highly recommend these bulkhead seats, and you'll see why on board. Qatar Airways has 8 lavatories for economy class on this specific configuration, although their more common A350-1000 configuration has only 6. That means on both these configurations, the lavatory ratio is actually 1 lavatory for 47 passengers. Now, I got an awesome suggestion from viewer Alexander who said, we need to see more content of the digital pre-flight experience, booking, meal pre-order, seat selection, check-in, etc. So I'm introducing a new section here called the 60-second site score, and it's pretty fascinating. In terms of Qatar Airways booking experience, I've always found it to be smooth and easy, especially on their iPhone app. If you're a member of their frequent flyer program Privilege Club, you can pre-fill all your information and then book in less than a minute. After booking, they make it easy to select seats, which is unfortunately on the pricey side in economy class on Qatar Airways, and you can select a special meal with just a few clicks. You can also upgrade, more on that at the end of the video, and change or cancel your ticket quite easily online. So overall, Qatar Airways gets a thumbs up all around for that. Now, let's hop on board. There is no denying that the Qatar Airways A350-1000 cabin is stunning, and most stunning of all is my seat, 36 kilo. Having an extra legroom seat like this with your own window is unbeatable. This is like having a window seat and aisle seat in one. Now the seat between me and Oscar is empty, so I take a seat here to test out the legroom, which turns out to be really good. In fact, this entire seat is really good, with a segmented seat back pocket, an expandable tray table, a personal power port, and more storage above that, as well as a crisp HD entertainment screen. You also get a comfortable adjustable headrest, which goes great with the fantastic recline on these seats. Economy class really doesn't get much better than this. One thing though, and I must admit I'm quite concerned about this in the long run, the seat in front of Oscar in row 35 does not have any support on the aisle side, meaning the seat is slanting toward the aisle, and we measure it to be a 2-degree angle, which makes it look like the seat will snap off its support at any minute. In case you start sweating and wondering if 38H will collapse on your foot, at least you have individual air vents, which I always appreciate. This flight is so empty that boarding is done in about 5 minutes, and then we push back and depart toward Doha.
Thank you so much.
The incredible thing on flights within the Gulf is that most airlines offer meal service. Within 8 minutes after liftoff, the crew is distributing our Arabic mezza for today with a tasty orange juice and some heated pita bread. To me, an in-flight snack does not get better than this. Fresh, healthy, tasty, high-quality ingredients, 10 out of 10. This aircraft also offers Qatar Airways' biggest selection of RX-1s, so you have plenty to keep you entertained, especially when your flight is less than an hour. But for some reason, my favorite entertainment, the A350 exterior cameras, is not working today. Good to know though, Qatar Airways also offers Wi-Fi for a flat rate of $10 for an entire flight, regardless of whether your flight is 30 minutes or 16 hours. Also good to know, members of their loyalty program get 1 hour of Wi-Fi for free. What else do we need to check out on this short flight? The lavatories. Again, it doesn't get much better than the A350-1000. As we approach Doha, I find myself thinking that, hey, this seat 36K really wouldn't be so bad for a long-haul flight. I would genuinely say that this seat and its equivalents that you saw on the seat map are worth whatever premium Qatar Airways is charging for them, which will obviously depend on your flight length and route. Touchdown on a beautiful day in Doha. I'll see you back here for my onward flight to Amman. Stay tuned to see a drastically different Qatar Airways economy class experience. There are downgrades, and then there's going from an A350-1000 on a 1-hour flight to an A320 on a 3-hour flight. But hey, that is Middle Eastern aviation for you. Qatar Airways has 29 A320s in its fleet, so although these don't get a lot of attention, many of Qatar Airways flights are operated by these birds, including flights over 6 hours to Europe and Africa. So what can you expect on board? Well, Hamad Airport, first of all, is a joy in so many ways. Since few people arrive or depart from here compared to those transiting, check-in is often a breeze just like it is today. Now, what is this cool little suitcase I'm playing around with?
Oh, no big deal. Just the coolest bag I've seen in years from today's video sponsor Velo. Yes, it can look like this, a 16-inch carry-on suitcase so I can bring it on board, but at the click of a button, I can make it look like this. Suddenly, it's a 22-inch suitcase, and wait a minute, it can even go like this. 26 inches. What you saw is the Velo 3-in-1 expandable hardside luggage. With just a click of a button, it fits any one of 3 different functions, whether you want to go on a weekend trip, a week-long getaway, or like me, you want to buy a bunch of food and stuff when you travel, so you leave with a carry-on and you return with a huge bag. Also, by utilizing this expandable design, you can make your bag look truly unique, which is pretty awesome. Now, how's the quality? Well, my initial impressions are great. Although the suitcase is super durable, it's not rock solid because those types of bags can easily break. I love that it gives a little bit because it also means I can cram just a few extra things in there, all while it being waterproof, rolling completely smoothly on 2 or 4 wheels, and offering an amazing interior with dividers and adjustable compression panels. Velo was massively successful in its crowdfunding campaigns in the US and in Japan, and I get why. It's really a genius idea because how many trips have you been on where you thought, oh, I'll pack light, and then you end up regretting it later and wishing you had more space? For me, that's pretty much every single trip. So if you want to check out the Velo 3-in-1 expandable hardside luggage, you can do so at the link in the description. What a great way to start 2024 with some brand new luggage.
Speaking of luggage, one thing to note is that you really want to be cautious on Qatar Airways because for some odd reason, they only allow 1 item of carry-on luggage in economy. This applies regardless of your frequent flyer status. You're allowed 1 carry-on and no personal items, so if you have a purse or a backpack, that is technically your limit right there. This rule is quite inconsistently enforced, but you should be aware of it because sometimes it could really cause you trouble.
See, this is smart. 2 kiosks that are not by the luggage belt, and there's trash cans by every single one. This is a bit scary because I know my flight is completely sold out. It's the first one on this trip, on this whole itinerary of reviewing economy that is sold out. So here we go.
Security in Doha is a breeze today, and then I'm led into the terminal, which is not only incredibly good when it comes to amenities and features like the garden, but also really easy to navigate. If you're transiting in Doha, on the other hand, I find that security for transit can often be a zoo at peak hours. Prepare for that to be a consistent, stressful part of the experience. Another really stressful part of the experience in Doha is that they seem to be obsessed with the idea of bus gates. Hamad Airport is more obsessed with bus gates than I am with bubble tea. Hamad Airport is more obsessed with bus gates than I am with jet lag the game. Hamad Airport is more obsessed with bus gates than I am with Spicy Moon's Kung Pao Tofu in New York City. Yeah, if you're on any flight besides London, Australia, and the US, your odds of having to take a bus, sometimes for up to 20 or 25 minutes to your aircraft, are unfortunately very high. Probably the highest of any major airport in the world. Thankfully, today it's a short ride to our aircraft, a 13-year-old A320. The air is incredible in Doha today, so I take a few deep breaths in to savor the moment before boarding our entirely sold out flight. Qatar Airways A320s come in many different configurations, unfortunately. Some have lie flat seats, some have newer recliners and no in-flight entertainment in economy, and some, like mine, feature more vintage premium seats and vintage but decent economy class seats. Sadly, you never really know which you'll get, so I recommend stocking up on entertainment just in case. In this flight, I'm seated on 10 Alpha to get your average experience, but if I wasn't reviewing this flight, I'd absolutely try to get the emergency exits or the bulkhead seats for extra legroom. As is standard on the A320, a lot of passengers have to share very few lavatories. In this case, there are 2 for 132 passengers. That means the lavatory ratio is 1 to 66, so prepare to have to hold it in for a while. Now, let's climb those stairs and hop on board. Okay, so this is the first/business class cabin. The branding depends on the route, and it's exactly what I reviewed a couple years ago. You can check that out in the card now. Economy class on this aircraft is funky. Those headrests really stand out, but so does the entire cabin, honestly, because it's completely burgundy. Not gonna lie, I kinda love it. I'm pleased to see that not only do the seats have in-flight entertainment screens, but they also have in-flight charging via USB and 2 power ports per 3-seat row. The essential tech is covered besides Wi-Fi, which is not available on most or all of Qatar Airways A320s. There's also a nice and quite large pillow for economy waiting at our seat, as well as a blanket and headphones. You gotta love getting this on a 3-hour flight.
So it's a sold out flight. Not great, but luckily it's only not even 3 hours.
Now let's talk about the most important thing, at least to me since I'm quite tall, the legroom. It's just not good, especially with these enormous entertainment boxes down here. That's especially notable since this seat is still modern enough to have a raised foldable tray table like you saw on the A350, which is supposed to give more legroom. But hey, at least the seat pocket has 2 pockets so you can stay a little bit organized, and I love when airlines have see-through seat pockets like this so you aren't worried about forgetting something deep down at the bottom. In proper 5-star airline style, there are individual air vents at every seat. We eventually push back, and I have an awesome chat with my Yemeni seatmate the entire way to the runway before I tell him, I'm so sorry, but I need to focus on what's outside the window right now. And since we're departing to the north, there's actually a lot going on outside the window. Just 35 minutes after takeoff, it is mealtime. I've pre-ordered the VGML, which is essentially sweet and sour noodles. I like it, and it's definitely an impressive dish compared to these sad little side dishes. I also get some mango juice, which is yum. Here's a look at the entire menu for this flight, and how insane is it to have 3 main course options on a 3-hour A320 flight. My neighbor gets the chicken biryani, and everything on his tray looks good, especially that dessert cup. Now, here's something to make you scratch your head, but also say, that makes sense, but the entertainment selection from RX-1 is tiny on Qatar's A320. Even if we have a screen and a box blocking most of our legroom, there is still a fraction of the selection you get on the A350. I spent most of the flight watching Griselda that I've downloaded on my phone via Netflix because I was thinking this flight might not have in-flight entertainment at all, and during the 3 hours, the crew passes by 2 more times with drinks, which I feel is pretty much unheard of on such a short flight. Guess what? It appears Biscoff has finally spread to Middle Eastern airlines. I mean, who doesn't love a good reminder of the glamour of flying in the US now and then? After 2 hours in flight, we start our descent into Amman, Jordan. At first it looks dry like normal, but suddenly it's green. I've never been to Jordan in the winter before, and how stunning is this? We touch down right on schedule and taxi to our gate. As I'm about to disembark, I remember, oh, the recline. So I quickly try that, and wow, does this seat have a lot of recline. Unfortunately, I don't find this headrest especially supported though, and you definitely don't want to be sitting behind a reclined passenger in this already cramped seat.
Okay, that is the last of Qatar Airways for this video. Honestly, the flight was not nearly as, I don't want to say bad, but I was kind of dreading an old A320 on, you know, a sold out 3-hour flight. But then again, I'm like, wait, I do that on Ryanair or on much worse airlines in other parts of the world all the time. So all in all, those hours actually flew by. The meal was good, the staff was so nice, and the seat, although old, was quite a lot better than I was expecting.
All in all, Qatar Airways offers a quality economy class product. As far as economy goes, Qatar Airways would definitely be one of my top options. Have I changed my opinion to finally think that Qatar Airways is better than Emirates in economy class? Well, stay tuned for my next video to find out. But wait, what if you don't have to pay for economy class at all, or just pay a little extra to fly their first class instead?
Okay, thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope you found this video helpful if you're planning a trip in Qatar Airways economy class. However, if you are planning a trip in Qatar Airways economy class, I would say consider flying business class instead. Qatar Airways is one of the easiest major high quality airlines in the world to redeem points on if you learn the art of buying and then redeeming points. This is possible wherever you live in the world. You don't need to be in the credit card game trying to maximize those rewards. You don't need to be a US citizen to be eligible. Anyone in the world can buy airline points and learn to redeem them effectively. So just to give some examples, you can fly between Europe or Asia and the Middle East for about $650 one way in Qatar Airways Business. If you want to fly from down under to Doha, for example, you can get from Australia to Doha in Qatar Airways first class on their Airbus A380 for about $1,700 or $1,800 US dollars, which is absolutely insane considering the retail price of a flight like that is over $7,500. Of course, Qatar Airways is one of my favorite business classes in the world. It's absolutely incredible. You can watch the card now. I'm putting a video to the longest Qatar Airways Q-Suite flight in the world to get some inspiration. So now you might be asking, how can I learn this? Well, you can Google. This is publicly available information. You can try to figure out how can I buy points and how can I redeem them for the best value on Qatar Airways. If you do not have time for that and you want everything condensed in one efficient little bubble for you to learn everything you need in just a few hours, you can check out my Points Master program. I have a free mini course to get you started. That doesn't teach Qatar Airways, but it teaches one of the other biggest award programs in the world, how you can buy and redeem points there for airlines like Emirates, Singapore Airlines, ANA, so many good options. So if you want to change the way you fly and not be stuck in the back on a sold out flight like I was from Doha to Amman, let alone on a 16-hour flight, check out my program Points Master. Almost 200 students have enrolled from you guys watching my YouTube videos, which is so amazing, so exciting, and I'm truly so glad to see how this is changing the way that people travel. I've had several people reach out saying they've already booked their very first business class flights ever for half or a third of the cost of the retail price of that ticket. So check out Points Master down in the description below if you're interested. And of course, even if you don't want to join the whole program, you can take the free mini course just by entering your email, at that link. So on that note, thank you so much for watching, guys. I can't wait to see some more of you on Points Master, and until I see you all in the next video, fly safe.